I'm happy to be here with you today and to speak about a topic that is very dear to me, and you will understand why. A few months ago, I got a text message from my 16-year-old daughter. Her name is Tal. When I got this text message, first of all, it took me more than 30 seconds to read it, but more 30 minutes to decipher some of the words. At the beginning, when you look at the text message, you think that perhaps you are dealing with a person, perhaps that is illiterate, or you don't really understand what's going on. But if you dig a little bit more, you will see that the text language has some rules. First of all, the whole point of texting to someone is really saving some time. I can write, as you see, on the left side, almost half of the text that I can write in traditional English. But when you look at it even carefully, you see that there are some rules also. The goal is to abbreviate the word. You do it by omitting the vowels and also by playing with sounds and letters. It means that if I can evoke the same sound with a different letter, it makes it even funnier. Let's say if we are looking, at the word everyone is going over here. So if I use the number 1 instead of the traditional word one, it makes it fun and even faster. So you see, I was just starting to master, the text language. And by the way, if you are not mastering this language is very common with the teenager, but you have also dictionary today. I just got one last week that can help you to decipher the text language. So I was just starting to master the text language, and then I got another one. This time from my friend from Israel. She told me that there is a new Israeli company named Zlango, which actually translates any text you want into icons only. Which was very interesting also. So the icons is the second trend that happens today in the world. You see, texting, like you do in English, it doesn't happen only in English. It happens today in almost any language that you have all over the globe. The second trend that happens today as well, that we have more and more icons that are introduced to us by the new media. And the first one, the one who started, this revolution, of course, was the Windows. But today we are using them all the time. So you see, by being an Egyptologist who lived in the past, suddenly getting these 2 text messages, I was so happy to see that my Egyptians are coming back. Because you see, for me, there is nothing new about it. When you look at the hieroglyph, I know that some of you, and even some of you ask me tonight, can we read really the hieroglyph script? It's not a secret language, so let me tell you something. The icons that we have today are perhaps the updated version of 2010 and almost 2011 of the version that started 5,000 years ago. But you see, the icons that the Egyptians used were part of their daily life. The Egyptians understood their icons. The life that they live was an agricultural life. So for them, looking at different kind of birds, it was their life. They didn't need to study it in any school. The power of the icon language today, that you don't need to go to school in order to understand the message. If the object that is depicted in the icon is part of your cultural life, it's very easy to understand. But if you are away and very far from this cultural life, definitely it becomes a secret language. Imagine yourself, if God forbid, we have a catastrophe today in the world, and another civilization finds our computer today. I'm telling you, for them, it will be the same thing as we are experiencing for the Egyptian. But the similarity to the Egyptian icons is not only by the fact that we are talking about picture, and not only by the fact that we are talking about pictures that are revealing and telling us, the daily life of the Egyptian. It's also about the rules of how you read the hieroglyphs. So let me teach you a little bit how to read hieroglyphic. I was a teacher for 11 years at the Hebrew University in Jerusalem, and that's what I was doing. So I want to teach you at least one of them. Here you have 4 ways of reading an Egyptian icons. You see, when you start reading a text, and when you see the sign of an arm, the first phase for you can say, okay, if I see an arm, it means what I see is the translation of the word. So the sign becomes the word, the image becomes the word itself. The second way of reading an icon, and this is actually the key of transforming a new language, is when you start dividing between the sound of the icon and the meaning. So I will use only the sound ad, and it reminds, if you know some Hebrew, yad. I will only use the sound of the letter, and I will start combining it to a different letter to evoke a different word. The third way of reading the same icon is saying what we are seeing here is not an arm and not a sound. What I see here is actually a category for body parts. And the last phase of reading an icon would be, this is actually a metaphor of saying mighty and strong. So you see, the intellectual gymnastics, if I can say so, of reading hieroglyphic, that you are not sure when you read the image in which phase you are reading it. Is it deeper than that? And what they did also, that not only they had 4 dimensions of reading hieroglyphic, but they developed a whole language with grammar and structure and rules. So my big question was to see whether there is some similarity in the way we read today the text language and the icons. And actually, we are just in the beginning of going to the same footsteps. You see, the key of doing what the Egyptian did is actually coming by the second way of reading the icon. Once you start dividing the sound from his letter, differentiating between sound and the meaning of the image, this is really the key of transforming and writing every word you want. So today you can see number 4 as a number, but you can definitely see number 4 in texting like before and for sale and so on. And the big question is whether are we going to the same footsteps? Are we really going to develop a whole language like the Egyptian? Maybe in a year or 2 we'll have a new book written only in icons. If Zlango did it, why not a writer? In other words, if the ancient Egyptian were using the technology we use today, if you combine the texting and you started translating all the texting into icons, what you get is ancient Egyptian. And I know that some of you will ask, okay, but maybe we are not going to do it. Maybe texting will stay as it is, and icons will develop as it is. But you see, when you look at the trend, just the last 5 years, there is a growth of 55% of icons from last year to this year. The growth is unbelievable. And there is one group of icons who already started the merging. You know which one it is? The emoticons. When you are using texting and you want to give some attitude and emotion to your text, what you are doing, you are using an icon to describe it. When I asked my daughter, if you would have more icons in your cell phone that you could put in your text message, will you use them? She said, of course. Because I don't have so many of them, so I'm starting to do some graphics. Will it change the way we think? Will it change the way we behave? Will it change the way people communicate and express their ideas like here? I believe it will. Thank you.